Well, hello and welcome along to the next edition of Pit Panel. Well, we're here in Horsens and joining me is Kelvin, Tatum, Ole Olsen and Nigel Pearson, our commentary team and the man that makes this track happen. Well, as we're talking about the track today, it's only fitting that we're standing on the track. Well, we've got 3 temporary tracks throughout the season. And Nigel, this one's particularly exciting because the fans can get so close to the track.
Yeah, very much so, Kiri. And what the close to the action is fantastic for the fans, but also it's the first time I've actually walked on this circuit, and the banking here looks great to me, and I've really enjoyed the racing here over the last few years since we moved here to the Casa Arena. I think it's great.
Okay, well, Kelvin, technical this track is for sure and provides some very exciting racing. So what's it like to ride on a temporary track and what's it like to watch the racing on a track like this?
Well, riding on a temporary track is just fabulous. There's no doubt that the surfaces have improved immensely. Since we've come to Horsens, we've been blessed with great weather, and there's no doubt that we've seen some superb Grand Prix here, right from when Peter Kilderman won the first Grand Prix here, and Janowski again last year. They have been spectacular events.
Indeed. Now, Ollie, there's a lot that goes into making a track like this. How long did it take to get something like this down?
Well, it takes, normally we build the tracks and it's about 4 days, you know, then we finally finish with everything. But this track here is built a couple of weeks before because it's an outdoor, and we're glad that the weather is perfect. But it can go the other way, so it has to settle down a bit more so it can take heavy rain. And so we're quite pleased with it, but we started here on a Monday morning 2 weeks ago, and we built the track and we were finished on the Friday with everything. So it worked perfect, and so we're quite pleased with it. Yesterday went good in practice. Obviously with this very hot weather we need a lot of water on the track.
I was just going to ask you actually, Ollie, the heat wave that we're having throughout Europe, and that we have here in Horsens, in Jutland, where it normally rains, we've got fantastic...
What do you mean normally rains?
Well, every time we come to your place in Voyens, it rains.
You know, I'll keep that, it'll be haunted by that, so that, you know.
But has it changed your preparation, the heat wave that we've got right now?
It has to a little bit, because you know, when the material is put in, we put 3,800 tons of material in. It needs to have the correct moisture into the surface so we can compress it, and obviously as we are working in it, it's drying up because we've had this blue skies since when we built it as well. But it's come down good, and practice yesterday went well, so I'm quite pleased with it. Actually, I feel quite proud of it because I was a little bit concerned about the dust, that we could keep it, because also it's an open stadium here, you have a bit of wind as well, and wind dries it fast. But tonight's going to be great because wind's going to go down a bit and not quite as hot. Yesterday we had 32 degrees, and that's a lot, so we'll have about 22, 24 here. So I look forward to it, and obviously it's a big job, but I think as you were saying, Nigel, you know, this stadium just suits it, and I keep telling the football club to leave it in so we can have some more Speedway here. But they don't. They
football again in a couple of weeks.
But they love it though. Their footballers are all been in because they train every day here, and then they come up and they all see how we're going on with it. So they love it, and it's great. And also they're very close. They're only 3 meters away, so it's like a permanent track. And the seats are a little bit higher, so everybody can see here. It's not like in the bigger stadiums where we have to cover some of the front seats and things like that. So
it's a cosy stadium and it generates a fabulous atmosphere, there's no doubt about that. I see that you're introducing some new material today. Is there a reason for that?
No, we had that. We also used that last year, but we used a little bit more. We put a little bit of granite on top of it, because that is a little like a hard rock. This, what we're building, it is a softer rock, and that holds the water in, but it dries also faster. And this here with the granite on, the sun goes on and this little stone dries, but it keeps the water at the bottom. Okay. So that's what we have had success with that, and it works good.
And you've got Cardiff coming up very soon as well. Looking forward to that one. When do you move in? What's the process?
Well, we're going over there on the 14th. We start Sunday morning at Cardiff, And Cardiff is obviously, you know, is very special. I mean, that's where it all started, really, with this. I know we built a couple before.
2001, Ollie.
Yes, that's right. But we built 2001 was also when we did Melbourne and
Yes.
that. No, Sydney.
Sydney, yeah.
Yeah, and we did Berlin and that in 2000. So, but Cardiff was the one that really put it on the map, you know. And I'm so pleased that there's such a great support for that from spectators, and it is a spectacular event.
Brilliant.
And for me, when we're building the track, it's really proud to stand there and you see all those spectators, and then you see the whole event when it's running. It can measure with any world sporting event around
Yes.
the world. You
Absolutely.
know, you can't
It's a
take in.
wonderful-
Yeah,
it's
it's you know, there should be full stadiums everywhere, because it's an experience for life, this, you know.
It is indeed, and I'm going to say that there's a lot of work that goes on unseen, of course, because the build up to the events, but also there's a lot of work that has to happen after the events to actually clear the stadiums, and of course that in itself is quite an operation.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, because we start here at, when the meeting is finished here at 10 o'clock. We go immediately on to the track and start, the event team start taking all the banners, the branding and the air fence and everything down, and then they start up in that corner up there, and then as soon as they are clear, we start taking the perimeter fence and the inner curve, and then the big machine excavators move in and they start moving back from turn 3 and 4. And then we're moving down towards this end, and as soon as we are sort of halfway down, then the grass people comes in and they lay new grass.
Yeah.
And all that, they start up in that end. So when we're getting to the end here, to about here, the football pitch is also laid.
Right.
Because 3 weeks after they play soccer on it, a Super League match here.
So not too much time. So it's
It's,
quite clearly it's got to be quite an operation to clear the stadium as well as actually getting it arranged.
It's got to be timed right, yeah.
Certainly sounds like an enormous operation, but that is how we got to Horsens. We will also be in Cardiff on our temporary track as well. So if you are not here, maybe join us in Cardiff, but otherwise keep up to date with everything that's happening across all of our social media. It is Speedway GP for that. Thank you so much to Ole Olsen, Nigel Pearson and Kelvin Tatum. That was our pit panel for this week.